Welcome back, guys. This is part 2 of our C programming tutorial video series. In this part of the video, I'm going to tell you about this printf statement or printf function in C programming language. You already have seen this printf, right? So today we are going to learn some more details about this printf function and why this printf function is important and useful. And believe me, guys, this printf function, this particular function, you are going to write in almost all the C programs that you will be writing in the future. So let's begin then with this printf statement. But actually, before starting with this printf statement, let me tell you something about a program, okay? And what is that something? I just want to show you the functional block of a program, or in other words, you can say that what typically a function does. Okay, so in that case, so say for example, sorry, what typically a program does. Okay, like here I am using this word function and program synonymously, and it's okay, fine. I mean, you can consider a program as a function also. Okay, at some point of time you can replace both these two terms. But anyhow, my point is that I just wanted to tell you what normally, in general, what a program does. Okay, so what a program does is that a program, or what a program should be capable of doing. Okay, in other words, a program should be able to take, suppose this is a program, and that program should be able to take input from the user. Certainly, right? You agree with that. I mean, say for example, you are going to an ATM and then you want to withdraw money. There, on the screen, you see basically an output of a program in some sense that is actually waiting for the input from the user. I mean, that program is behind the screen. You can think of there is a program waiting for the user to come and type the numbers. So those are inputs to the program. So that way, any program you think of, you just think of like logging into the login page of any website. Okay. So what do you do there? You type there the username, you type there the password, and you click on go or login or some button is there. You click on that button, and then based on your the validity of your username and password, you are either redirected to a different page or maybe shown with an error message, isn't it? So what you can think of is behind this login page, basically there is a program waiting there, and it is waiting for the user to type some input there, like in these text boxes, and then click on this go button. Now, once it takes those inputs, certainly it has to do some processing. That part I'll be coming. But for the time being, just think of this input like any program. Like it normally it has to take input from the user. Okay, understood that part, right? Now, once it takes the input, now to come to the next point, like what the program does with these inputs. The first thing that the program should be able to do is, in some sense, the program should be able to remember the input. Remember the input. You might be thinking, like, okay, can the ATM machine remember my password? No, not in that sense, not permanent remembering, okay? Now, what I mean is, or this login page, can it remember my password? Yeah, I mean, this login page, usually it cannot remember your password, okay? The password that is remembered by your local computer. In your local computer, that feature might be there, but in general, in a web browser, you cannot remember the password. Okay, I mean only your machine can remember it, that's all. But that's a different thing. Now when I say remembering the input, I don't mean remembering it permanently in the in the hard drive of the computer or something like that. No, no, in from the point of view point of view of a program, I'm telling it. Okay, now what I mean by remembering is, say for example, this username and password, when you enter, the program actually copies, it makes a copy of whatever the username and the password the user has typed. Okay, and then it in this case, specifically in this login page case, so what it does is basically it sends these typed username and typed password, the copy of the typed username and the password, it sends to a remote server. I mean, to a remote server, in the sense, in this case, you can consider it sends it to a different computer there, okay, over the network. Okay, so to that different computer actually somehow decides. We'll get into the details of those things maybe in the like coming videos, but I think for time being that is out of the scope of this discussion. So what you can think of is this username and password is being sent to a different computer. That computer does some processing, and at the end it returns some results to this particular the program that is handling this username and password. So my point here is that what the program should be able to do is the program that is handling this username and this login page, it should be able to remember this username and password for further use. You got the point? Now, let me show you another example. Say, for example, you are developing a calculator, like a simpler version of the, a straightforward example for this problem, maybe. Like you want to like add or you want to perform some, arithmetic operation in this calculator. You want to perform some arithmetic operation on these numbers, okay? So, say for example, the plus and minus operation you want to perform. Then what you do is you press enter. You first enter the first number, maybe 1, and then you enter the second number, maybe plus, like that. See, as soon as you enter the number, the program which is behind this, it should be able to remember somehow, okay, the first number entered by the user is 1, and the symbol that the user pressed is plus, and the second number user by the enter is, say for example, 3. So these three pieces of information the program somehow has to remember, so that later on it can actually perform operation on that. I mean, it has to carry out the operation intended by this particular symbol on these two particular numbers. So obviously you can now appreciate that the program has to somehow remember those things for further processing. Okay, so that is the other thing a program should be able to do. The program should be able to remember the input. Right now I'm constraining this remembering part only with input, but basically it has to remember some other extra informations also. It might. Okay, we'll come to that point. When we'll write programs, then certainly you will see this. See, my classes will not normally be so theoretical, but before starting, I just wanted to tell you the beginning of this story. In some way, or I'm just trying to give you the complete picture, trying to show you the complete picture. Then when we'll be learning actually the dots, the bits, and the pieces. So if you have these complete picture somehow in your mind, then whenever you are learning a new bit or whenever you are learning a new piece, then you will be somehow able to put that piece in the proper place in this entire picture. So that's my main point here. Okay, so okay, then let's continue. The first thing that I said to you is the program should be able to take input from the user, and the second thing that I said to you is that it should be able to remember the input. We'll go into the details certainly how the program can remember things, how it can take input, and those are the things we're going to learn. But before that, again, yes, it should be able to remember the input. And the third thing that it should be able to do, and it is the most important thing, and the third thing that it should be able to do is it should be able to process. It should be able to process the inputs. Okay. Now, certainly, you can you can appreciate or you can comprehend the need of this particular capability. And these processing inputs, basically, that is actually a program, the heart of the program. Okay, that processing input. It means it basically you can think of processing input as like it's a function that takes input. Sorry, it's a function that takes input. It could be any input. Okay, it takes input and it maps that input to some output. Okay, anything. This function actually, this particular function is this processing thing. I mean, that the main program, the main component of the program is this implementation of this particular function. Any program you think of, is this processing inputs part basically does the this mapping actually, from the input generate the output. And it is, you should now realize that these function, the processing the input and processing the input to its output form is program dependent. Like it depends on what program you are writing. Suppose you are writing this program to perform this arithmetic operation, so it should be able to do only this, like 1 plus 3 equal to 4, or maybe 1 into 3 equal to 3, or 1 divided by 3 is equal to 0.333, like that. But suppose you are writing a different program, and what that different program does, it also takes two inputs, say 1 and 3, but it tells you that the task of the program is to display you or tell you the bigger number present in these two numbers. So in that case, the output is 3 here. Now it's a different program, so it will process the input in a different way. It's a different program. Addition is a different program, so it will process the input in a different way here. So you should realize that this processing input part is actually program dependent. It depends on the program, or it depends on the problem that you're trying to solve by writing that program. And that is actually the, as I said, no, the heart and the core and everything about the program. Got it? Okay, then the final thing, not many more. Now only the final piece here. So what is the last thing this program should be able to do, and it should be able to do? I guess you people can now say yes. Yes, it should be able to generate the output. Okay, obviously, right? I mean, why why I said because say for example, if you type username and password wrong, in that case it should be able to tell you, okay, you have given a wrong username and password. You're not supposed to get into the website. Or suppose if you give a right username and password, in that case it will automatically redirect you to the to your desired page, or maybe to your home page or something, right? That way it displays you. That is one way of telling you the output. There are other ways also. Say for example, you consider this calculator. Here you enter the number, enter the symbol, enter the other number, press equal. Then here on the screen you are you will be able to see the output. This is another way of seeing the output, right? So those are the thing. I mean, all the programs, the way all the programs should be able to take input. Most of the program takes input from the user. Most of the all the program basically does this processing of remember these inputs and processing of inputs, and then generating the output. That is the final step actually. At the end of this processing, whatever it is the output, the program generates the output. This output could be an error message, obviously, but then also it's an output of the program. So those are the main components of the main functional unit of a program, okay? And here in this course, we will be learning those components one by one. Okay, that is how using C programming, we can write program that has all these capabilities. It means what? It should be able to take input from the user. It should be able to remember the input, and it should be able to process the data or process the input. And also at the end, it should be able to generate the output. Okay, so these four things a program should be able to do, and we will learn in this course how in C program, or how we can write C programs that does all these things. And we'll be concentrating here mostly all the things that we do, that will mainly come under this processing part. Okay, now let's see here that which one is the easiest one to learn, and we'll be starting from that particular point. Okay, and the easiest one to learn is this output, how to do an output actually. The program should be able to generate output. Okay, so in C program, how do you do output? That is in C. Now our point is, like, we'll be learning these features, like we'll be learning about like how to implement these things, or how to in C program, how we can add these different functionalities. Okay, so in that case, from that point of view, in C programming language, now we are going to learn how we can do output. Okay, now when we say output, specifically here, how we display something, how to outputting means what? Displaying here we'll be talking about like how to display text on screen in C programming language. So that's the main thing that we're going to learn now. And that will be called as outputting, or that will be considered as outputting for most of the programs we learn here. So towards the end, maybe we'll be learning how we can actually output to a file. Okay, but for the time being, when we say output, or this output, we mean actually displaying text on the screen. So for example, displaying hello world on the screen. You might be thinking why we might want to display something on the screen. Yes, there are many different situations where you might want to display, because it's considered is ATM machine, right? There it has to show you that enter your PIN number. Enter your PIN number. That message has to come before this blinking cursor. Otherwise, you will not know what you have to type there, whether you have to type your mobile phone number, or your age, or what it is that it is expecting from you. right? So in that case, displaying these messages or seeing these messages is quite useful for the user, isn't it? So here you need, like, suppose this behind program is, is written in C programming language, and then in that case it has to display that C programming, that that C program has to display this text on the screen, isn't it? So that is one case, and all the program that you write, it has actually, it has to display information to the user, maybe to ask input from the user, or to convey the output, or to convey the error message, or for many various other reasons. Okay, so that's the thing that we're going to learn now. You see here how we can, now a point is how to display text on screen. Whatever it is that you want to display in C program, you will be writing it, you can display it using this printf function. Now we don't worry about like what is a function actually, okay? But just remember that, like, okay, if you want to display anything on the screen, say for example you want to display hello world on the screen, okay? So in that case, what will you do is you will write printf, you will write open parenthesis, and then this closing bracket, you will write a semicolon. This part you will write without even seeing what it is that you have to type. You got the point? It means what? Whenever it is that you have to display something on the screen, then just write printf, open and close parentheses, and then this semicolon. After that, you see, okay, what you have to display actually. So whatever it is that you have to display on the screen, you will be writing that thing as it is, but within this double quotation. Got a point? So if you want to display hello world on the screen, then what you're going to do is you're going to write printf, and within these open and closing parentheses, you will be writing this hello world, and then this hello world will be enclosed always within double quotation. And then at the end, you have to put this semicolon. These are called as the syntax. Okay. So for example, this is syntax actually. It is just slight details I'm telling you. Don't worry. These are easy concepts. This printf is a function, and then whenever you are writing a function like this, so you open the parenthesis and you must have to close the parenthesis. That is important. You might be thinking, yeah, that is quite obvious. I mean, obviously you have to open it, it means you have to close it also. Yes, that is obvious. And if a human is reading and you are missing, suppose you have written printf, you missed that closing bracket, and if a human is reading it, then certainly the human will, as you said, no, quite obvious. Obviously, it will assume, okay, there is this flower, there is this closing bracket there at this point. But since you know that, right, whatever the C program that you write, that will actually go through a compiler, right? That will go through a compiler. Now, this compiler is a program. It's not a human being. So when it is a program, then you have to actually, it will be able to compile your program only when you write your program in a proper way. I mean, you are opening this open parenthesis, and you must have to close it by yourself. That is called as the syntax. You cannot like assume that the compiler will automatically fill these quite obvious components. Okay, so that way this syntax is important. But again, it's a good news that these syntaxes are like quite logical and quite obvious in most of the cases, so you don't have to worry much about remembering them. It is just that if you do practice, you will automatically know that. Okay, now that's done. Now printf you are writing, and then this is the syntax thing. Okay, like whenever you're writing this, you'll be writing this closing parenthesis also. And the other part of the syntax is like whenever you're writing a printf, at the end, see, after this closing parenthesis, you will be putting this semicolon. This is also a part of the syntax. You will be seeing that in the coming classes also, or coming videos also. You will be like seeing using this semicolon after each, sort of, for the time being, after each line of a C program. I'll be telling you the meaning, like, you will be automatically knowing the meaning of this thing. But for the time being, you can consider like this semicolon is doing whatever it is that full stop does in English language. It marks the end of a statement. Okay, so that is also obvious, right? I mean, you know most of the times where to put a full stop when you are writing a sentence in English. So here also it is the same thing. I mean, if you, sorry, here also it is the same thing. I mean, whenever when you write a few programs, automatically you will know where to put this semicolon, and where not to put this semicolon. Okay, so here also you don't have to remember anything. But then also, this is the syntax of printf statement. Okay, now when I said about syntax, the another part about syntax is that C programming is case sensitive language, in the sense that in this printf, if you write this printf as printf, see, the spelling is right, and I mean the spelling is same here, but this p I have written in capital, whereas this p is in lowercase. So now C programming language is this case sensitive. It means this compiler, it doesn't know, I mean this compiler doesn't know that this a is equal to a. It really doesn't know. I mean it considers, for it, this a is different from this a, as this p is different from, say, this t, right? This p and t, they're two different things for us, right? But for the compile, and we know, like, when capital N small a, in most of the times, they are the same for us. But for this compiler, the way p is different from t for us, the same way for this compiler, equally this capital A is different from this small a. You got the point? So you remember, in C programming language, these cases are important. I mean, most of the things are in lowercase, so you don't need to worry. So you just make a habit of typing things in lowercase. But you should remember that these are case sensitive things. It means writing P in capital is completely different from writing P in lowercase. Now now you can see that if I write this printf PRI and capital TF, then it is wrong, right? Yes. Okay, so that much only I have to tell you about this printf statement. I mean, I just, whatever I said, that is quite general. Okay, I mean, about this syntax, about this case sensitivity of C programming language, about putting a semicolon. Those things are quite you will see them frequently. Okay, now again, before actually writing code, let me just tell you now the main point once again. So the point is that whenever it is that you want to display something on the screen, say for example, you want to display there is a cat. Okay, this is this line, or these tags you want to display on the screen. So what you will do is you will put these tags within double quotation, and then you will put these double quotation tags inside this printf function. Okay, like this, and you will at the end put a semicolon. Got it? So that way it will display there is a cat on the screen. Okay, guys, then now let's write this program and check the output. So for that reason, what you have to do is you have to open Visual Studio Code. Once you open Visual Studio Code, then you have to go to File, and then you have to go to the folder. The same folder we'll be using that we used in our previous video. And if you don't have that, I mean, if you have not created any folder, then what I suggest you people to do is, first you go to your C drive, and there you create a folder called C-programs. We'll be assuming like all our programs are there. Okay. I mean, you can create it by another by another name, certainly, but whenever I say C-programs folder, you can think of like your own folder name. Okay. Okay. Now, I want is I want you people to go to File and then Open Folder. I'll be opening which folder? Yeah, in C drive I have this C programs folder, and that folder I'll be opening. Now, inside that, now see, this folder is loaded. Inside that, you can see these are the programs that I wrote to demonstrate how to install Visual Studio and GCC compiler in your computer. But those programs were only for, like, I just used them. I never explained you those programs. Okay, now today we'll be writing our first program, sort of. Okay, and let's call it, say, program 001. We'll be starting with 001, and we'll go up to what point we can go. We can write maximum 999 with this, with this what pattern. Yes. Now, okay, this .c, as you know, you have to give the extension as .c. Done. Now here, for the time being, again, you just remember that whenever it is that you have to write a C program, you will be starting with this hash include, and then standard input output dot age. Done. And then you will be writing int main. Done. You have to write it, as I said, not this case sensitivity, so you just, now I think you know. Okay. Okay, and these are the part of the syntax. I mean, for the time being, you just write the first line as it is, write the second line in main, open close as it is, and then open and close braces as it is, done. And then at the end return 0 as, or return 1, whatever it is you want to write, you can write, and done. Like this way, this is the basic skeleton of a C program. What I mean by it is that no matter what program we are writing, in almost all the programs, these few lines will be there as it is. So whatever it is the program that we're writing, we'll change only this part here. Okay, like here, whatever it is that we'll be writing. Okay, this is our program, one program. Another program is say something like, no, these are not programs, don't worry, but like that. Okay, so different programs will occupy different programs. For different programs we'll be writing different things here, and these part will remain same for most of the programs. Now the question is, why am I not explaining you these few lines now? Okay, why is it so? Why? Mm, just to start with, okay, we I just want you people to start with some light steps. Okay, although I'm for the last what, half an hour, 45 minutes I've been telling you a story. Don't worry, I mean, just to start, just start with a simple thing, and then slowly and slowly, as we move deep and deeper, these concepts you will automatically understand. Like I just have to tell you a few lines, 2 or 3 lines, you will understand them immediately. But right now, if I have to explain you these things, then another 1 hour I have to tell you. No, 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 no. Yeah, that will be a problem, bro. I have to tell you one thing with reference to that. Again, I have to tell you another thing, and like that, it might go on. This conversation might go on slightly longer, and yeah. So it's better first we know some few simple things, or simple things certainly, and then once we know those things, then you know telling the story about these two will be good. But for the time being, certainly there will be no problem, I think, remembering these few 5 6 lines of code. You agree, right? Okay. Okay. Now let's come to the point. Now it was the time to display hello. There's a cat on the screen, right? So printf, I'll be writing printf. See the support of this Visual Studio Code. So printf, there is a cat. There is a cat there. Okay. So this statement will display, or this particular function will display, there is a cat on the screen. How do I run this program? I just have to right click and I have to run code. Done. We'll be seeing there is a cat on the screen. Now this is my screen, say here, I mean on the screen means on the output screen. Now, the same program, certainly you can execute in command prompt and then you'll see the same output. So there is this cat. So whenever it is that you want to display something on the screen, you'll be displaying it using, using this printf function. So, okay, let me show you some special thing about this printf. So for example, now again I write printf. Now I forgot to display this part. Say I want to display this line also. There is a cat and there is a mouse. I want to put the full stop here. Now, if I execute this program, what you are thinking actually, will it display these lines? There is a cat and there is a mouse, one by one. I mean, on 2 different lines or on one single line. Let's see. So if we execute this program, then I click on run code and you can see here, see, there is a cat and there is a mouse. It is not giving any space between these, not even a space. Forget about a new line. It is not giving any space even, after this T and before these A. Get a point? Now, why is it happening? Because you see, when it starts printing, see, whenever you're seeing an output, it starts printing from here. So whenever it says like printf, there is this, there is a cat, and so it will go, there is a cat, and the cursor will be blinking here after printing this first statement. And then when it says, okay, there is a next printf there, it will start printing from that point itself. So A and D, there is a mouse, and then dot. Had there been another line after this, or had there been another printf statement after this, it would have printed from this point onwards, like mouse dot, and then from this point onwards it would have printed that particular line. You got the point? Now, then you might be thinking, then why did I write two different lines? I mean, what I'll do is at least I can give a space if I write everything on the same line. Yes, you can do that. I mean, at least you can right now get a space. Let's say, for example, full stop and get a space, and then this. Yes, that's okay. It will display. Now this printf is not needed. Yes, right. And then you right click and then run code. You've done. There is a cat and space. There is a mouse. Okay, great. Now, okay, that is fine. But what if I want to display two lines, in fact, not on one line, I want to display two lines, in fact. Okay, so what will you do? That's a question. Now, see, yeah, some of you might have been, might be saying, yes, use a new line character. Yes, certainly use a new line character. But then also for those people who are seeing it for the first time, maybe, it is interesting and it is something that you should know. But again, before that, let me tell you one thing that this printf actually, see, this is only the part of the syntax, okay? That is printf, open and close close parenthesis and this semicolon. And then within double quotation, what I said, whatever it is that I write, that will come as it is on the screen. So it means if I write does these garbage things, then also it will come as it is on the screen. For the computer, it really, see here, it matters whether you write this printf right or wrong, but it really doesn't matter whether you write these words right or wrong. I mean, there, if I write this there as like this, then also it's fine for the computer. The computer is not going to interpret what you have typed here. Its only task is take whatever it is within this double quotation, take them as it is, and print them as it is on the screen. You got the point? So that is one thing that I said you. But there are some exceptional cases. That is the important point. There are some exceptional cases. Exceptional cases in the sense when I say it displays everything as it is, whatever it is that you type on the screen. There are some exceptional cases. And what are those exceptional cases? So, for example, you typed something there, but here you type these slash, backward slash, and this and these two characters. If you these two letters, if you type together, okay, there as it is, like here as I typed, then this printf is not going to display these slash n as it is on the screen. It is going to interpret this slash n as something. Let's see what that slash n could be interpreted as by the computer in case of a C program. Okay, let's run this program and see. What is happening here? There is a cat and there is a mouse. There is a cat and there is a mouse. And then see, after mouse, from here, it's going on printing space EH and then this up to T. It is going on printing this. You don't think that it is coming to a new line. It is just that there are not enough space. That's why you see here. As soon as I make it bigger, I mean wider, you can see that all these are on the same line. This up to this T. Up to this T, no problem. I mean, as expected, it is printing those those characters on the screen. But here, what happened to this new line? I mean, slash n. This slash n is never displayed actually. You see? Then this slash n is missing, and then from this 5 onwards, again, it has printed it on the screen like 5 slash this up to this age. Okay, then what happened here? This new line, this slash n, is actually not printed here. It is what instead has been done by the computer. Instead, it has been interpreted by the computer, as a new line, or as if you are giving an instruction to the computer that okay, the cursor has to be brought down to the beginning of the next line. Okay, so sort of you can think like that. So it means what, wherever it is seeing a new line character, what it will do is immediately it will bring the cursor to the beginning of the next line. That's what you can see there, right? That GT, and there was this slash n, but in this slash n, it is as if like you're pressing an enter key here. So whenever you press an enter key, when you type something and you press an enter key, usually what happens is that the cursor comes to the beginning of the next line. So that's what is happening here. Right. Okay, then. So if I type now here a slash n, then you might be able to then predict the output. And here, if I write a slash n, say these two slash n's are written by me now. And if I ask you people to pause the video for a moment and predict the output of these two printfs, then what do you say? Okay, so let's now compile and let's now directly run the program. I run the program, and you can see. like for these, okay, I don't need this space. Yes, for these there is a cat dot up to this point. See, there is a cat dot, and as soon as this space was there actually, but anyhow, this new line character, it is interpreted as if someone has pressed this enter key at this point, so it will come here, right? And the cursor will be blinking here after this slash n, and there is a mouse dot. Okay, and there is a mouse dot. Okay, now the next line you have written to printf, but the thing is the next printf statement is trying to print this space, and where it will be printed, wherever the cursor was at that point. So the cursor was blinking here at that point, and then so it will go on printing eh and this up to this new line. So here again it is as if you're pressing a new line. So 5 this h u u IHU, and then this new line. So it will be brought down here to the beginning of the next line, and GUIH. Got it? So that way, you got a point. Now what we have learned is we can display any text on the screen just by putting them inside these double quotation, and then putting everything inside these printf function this way, right? And then if we want to display a new line character, I mean, if we want to display a new line, that is, if we want to print our line from the beginning of a line, print our text from the beginning of a line, then what we have to do is we have to make use of this new line character. These are two simple things that we have learned in this slightly long story, but then also these things are important. Maybe quite easy and straightforward, but then also you should understand the thing. Why is it so, more or less? Okay. Now let's write some program. Say for example, now I want to just have some fun now. Say I want to display these things. What? Just for the sake of fun, say I want to display Sunday, Monday to all these days I want to display up to Saturday in C program. So first C program, say write a C program that displays all the days of weeks on the screen. So how we'll be writing it? Yes, like we want to display something on the screen, so we'll be writing printf, and then you'll be typing Sunday, then Monday. See, if I write Sunday, Monday in this way, Monday in this way, then what will happen? Say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. Friday, sorry, Friday and Saturday. Okay. So if I write these days in this way, then as you expect, if I run this program, then what will happen is it will display the names of the weekdays on the same line, right? Yes. Now, if you want to display them on different lines, then what you do is you just have to put here a new line character. That's all. Sunday, then Monday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Thursday. There comes this Friday, and then Saturday, right? And again, if I run now, I'll display, okay, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, Saturday, and that's all. Okay. You got the point? Okay. Now let's now write another program. Okay. Let's write this program. Say for example, I want to display these boxes of like say not this pattern. Say for example this pattern. This, 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 this. See here, these are aligned. Okay. Although I have not done them properly. No, sorry. This first and second space, this is your first space here, and then they are aligned. You got the point, right? Yes. Suppose now I want to display this particular box on the screen. Then how do I do it in a C program? Okay, I'll be writing it in this way. Printf. I mean, there are obviously more interesting ways are there to display a box on the screen. I mean, dynamic way, okay? But here, what am I doing is it's a sort of static way. You'll come to know what I mean by that. But anyhow, for the time being, what we want, say, a few lines of minus symbol will be good. Okay. And then I want a new line, okay? So I want this new line, and then I want this symbol here, okay, the vertical line, okay, and then these are they should be there, space 1 2 3 4, and all these are my blank spaces except this one as this vertical bar, and then I press here this /n, and then as whatever it is the height, that many times I just have to copy this line, that's all. Okay, and at the end I want to close the floor, and that's all. If you now run the program, you should realize these /n's, they will actually bring the cursor to the beginning of the next line, so that way it will print this dash 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 up to this point, then the cursor will come here, it will print this line, and then the blank 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 up to this point will bring the cursor here, and that way you will be able to see this pattern on the screen. See, you are seeing this pattern on the screen. Now say I ask you people to try, like, okay, you display hello within this pattern, or you display, you can display basically any pattern here, in this box. Maybe you can try to display, this simplest one I'm telling you. So dot dash 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 dash, then okay, like this. This a box is there, although I have not aligned them, but you should realize that they are, like, on the same line. These two are on the same line, certainly. And then this, okay, and then this. This is not needed for nose, I guess, and for then this. Okay, so these you can, just for fun, you can write a program to display this pattern on the screen. Just try and let me know in the comment section how many of you have actually tried it. And see, here programming is fun, so that way if you learn it, then certainly you will remember it for I know that's a good thing. Actually, you should learn it through fun. So just for the sake of fun, just try to draw this thing on the screen using printf, and that way you will remember printf forever. Okay, guys, then that much only that I had to tell you about printf in this part of the video. I just wanted to start with these, like, these functionalities. Actually, today we just learned about these output, how we can do output in C program. When we say output, it means how we can display something on the screen from a C program. And we have learned, actually, if we want to display now we know that if we whatever it is that we want to display on the screen, and then we know we can do it using printf, and also we know how to display different lines on the screen. So these two basic simple things we have learned about printf. There's some more details about printf. Obviously, there are some other ways of using printf. You will be seeing the printf very commonly, okay, very frequently they are used, in some different ways also. Certainly very important other ways are there, but we will be learning about using printf, the different use of this printf statement when, after learning actually how to remember something by a computer program. And this part we'll be learning, in the next part of the video we'll be talking about remembering the data. Okay, the next part, which is coming after this output part, will be this remembering the data. Then we'll be learning about, the other uses of printf statement. But right now, we just to start with, we know how to display a string, or a text on the screen, and we also know how to change the lines in printf line, in printf function. Okay, guys, that much only in this part of the video. See you guys with some new content in the next part of the video. Till then, have a nice day.